How is everybody doing today? This is LA Kendrick with another tale from the vault of Would You Dare. All right, you guys, you know how we do it? One take, one shot, raw, unedited. We take everything here with a grain of salt. This is information that we just pick up on the internet and we run with the stories. Okay, so we talk about everything supernatural, extraterrestrial, extra-dimensional, haunting, demonic, serial killers. We talk about everything here. That's an avenue to give to people that follow me, that have supported me through the work as far as books are concerned, any of my ventures. It's an avenue for you guys to come and speak or imagine, as they call it, a safe space, to just share thoughts, man. That's all we're doing here, all right? If some of the stuff offends you, I don't know what to tell you, because again, we're just here speculating and talking about things that have been documented or things that are affecting the world on the other realms perspective, all right? So make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell to make sure that you guys are getting wind of when I go live, all right? But we're going to talk about, again, I just did a story the other day about water and a demonic evil thing that attacked somebody here in Austin, Texas. And what he was referring to was where I'm at as far as the gyms. That's why he hit me back. That's why he hit me up, and he shared his story with me about what he experienced here on different levels. But this, we touched on this briefly before, but it's about the Lake Lanier, all right? So you know how we do, the party don't start till you walk in. Now that you're here, let's begin, let's get it started. On August 3rd, the body of a 27-year-old man was found in Georgia's Lake Lanier. Days earlier, he had disappeared and drowned while swimming. The week before, another man drowned in the lake. And a few days before that, on July 27th, a 24-year-old jumped into the lake where he was electrocuted and later died. For folks who are familiar with Lake Lanier, a Georgia landmark, these tragic deaths aren't surprising. Over the years, hundreds of people have died there, making Lake Lanier one of the deadliest lakes in the United States. On Christmas Day, 1964, is known as the deadliest day at Lake Lanier. When a diver lost control of their car while crossing the bridge, the car flipped into the lake, where 5 children and 2 adults were drowned. In 2012, the 11-year-old son of Tamika Foster, Usher's wife, died at the lake. Lake Lanier is man-made, 38,000-acre lake that attracts about 10 million visitors every year, bringing around $5 billion annually to North Georgia's economy. The lake is located in the affluent Forsyth County, which has the highest median income in Metro Atlanta. This fact is especially interesting considering the body of water covers what was once a thriving black community called Oscarville. That community, formed in the late 1800s, was filled with successful farmers, carpenters, and blacksmiths, until Oscarville's more than 1,000 residents were violently forced out by white Forsyth County residents. Many people say the lake is haunted, and it's been depicted as such in pop culture, as in the season 3 opening scene of FX series Atlanta. In reality, the lake stands as a reminder of the American history today's leaders are trying to erase, and parts of the history they deem worthy of preservation. Lake Lanier was named after Sidney Lanier, a poet and Confederate soldier during the Civil War. It's less than 50 miles north of Georgia's Stone Mountain, which features the country's largest Confederate monument. Despite protests and legislation aimed at the statue's removal, it has remained in place. In too many parts of the U.S., we preserve ugly stains of this country's racism while eliminating the thriving black communities that once stood strong. Black towns like Rosewood, Florida, neighbors like Greenwood and Tulsa, Oklahoma, were a testament to the strength and innovation of the independence of the residents until they were destroyed by white mobs. Lake Lanier is a chilling reminder of anti-black violence that is still claiming black lives today. The lake story began more than 100 years ago in September 1912. A white 18-year-old named May Crow was found injured after being assaulted in the woods less than a mile from her family's home. She later died from the wounds. Despite the absence of witness or evidence, a 24-year-old black man, Rob Edwards, was arrested. Edwards was then taken from the county jail by a mob of white residents, brutally beaten with crowbars and shot repeatedly, and dragged to the town square where his mutilated body was lynched. Additionally, Edwards' wife, Jane Daniel, their neighbor, Ed Collins, Aunt Jane's cousin, Oscar Daniel, and Oscar Daniel's cousin, Ernest Knox, were arrested. Knox and Oscar Daniel, both teens were convicted by all-white juries before being hung in front of about 5,000 spectators. Man, that's crazy. In the aftermath of those brutal killings during September and October 1912, mobs of white people set fire to local black churches and black-owned businesses. They forced all the black residents out of the county. Decades later, in 1987, on the episode of The Oprah Winfrey Show, visited Forsyth County, which at the time hadn't had a black resident in 75 years. Today, only 4.9% of the county population is black. 9.7% is Hispanic. Well, that's that number. And an overwhelming 72.6% of the residents are white, with 63.9% identifying as non-Hispanic white people. In the 1950s, Oscar was flooded for the creation of Lake Lanier, according to historians. Many of the community structures were not removed, including unmarked graves. In 2017, CNN reported that a longtime driver, Buck Buchanan, claimed he sometimes felt body parts in the lake while underwater. You reach out into the dark and you feel an arm or leg and it doesn't move, he said. Just last year, it was announced that one of the lake's rescue teams will no longer be using divers for underwater rescues. Instead, decrease risk to divers. They would use robots for underwater rescues. The horrific story of wiping out black communities and often simultaneously stripping black folk of their wealth is not unique to Lake Lanier. Alabama's Lake Martin, also a man-made, covers a black community formed in 1895. The residents of New York's Seneca Village, which was covered by Central Park, were forced out in 1857. Similarly, highways have been built over black communities for years, and recent reports of plans to build a highway through black communities in South Carolina are proof that it isn't just a thing of the past. We live in a country that went from enslaving black people to wiping out the communities they built post-slavery. Today, some politicians are prohibiting the teaching of that history, while simultaneously promoting a false account of that history. Florida's new African American study curriculum teaches students that enslaved people saw personal benefit from their captivity. It is a heartbreaking statement to the legacy of racist cruelty that too many Americans insist on upholding today. This is from Teen Vogue, okay? Again, these are stories that we're going with. And this history is crazy. There was a drowning here August 27, 2023. A 23-year-old man drowned while swimming in the popular Georgia lake. He was identified as Edgar Stephen Cruz Martinez. He was swimming Saturday, October 26th in Lake Lanier when he went on the water and did not resurface. After responding to the lake for a possible drowning, game wardens discovered Martinez's body in 10 feet of water. It's unclear what led Martinez going underwater. All right, so, you know, these deaths continue to happen. And whether we want to accept it, I'm closing up on that. Whether we want to accept it or not, there is energy, residual energy when we leave this planet. We leave this dimension and transition into the next life. Now, you can believe it or not. I believe that that's true. Because when you go to sleep and you dream, what do you think that is? What do you think those images and visions are? My take on it, I believe that that's us in the other dimension, transition, the life after death phenomenon, okay? That's what I believe. And when you have such massive, saddening losses, you can go across the country, across the planet, especially in divisions where there's been oppressive and wrongful deaths, violent killings, murders. You will find all the way from Cherokee Park in Hopkinsville, Kentucky, or then to Kentucky, Appalachian, all the way up to Devil's Tower in Wyoming. And I've been to, and I'm from where the Cherokee Park situation happened. And I'm telling you, it floods over there all the time. All the time, the Trail of Tears. Devil's Tower has to be the absolute eeriest place I've ever been. I've never seen anything I've never felt anything like that. Even before you get to it, you can sense it from a distance. And it is absolutely eerie. And there are other parts of the country, of the world that you will experience this. You can even go as far as looking at movies like Poltergeist. If you guys remember, they actually used real skeletons and body remains of people that had really died. And they said they had tragedy upon tragedy upon tragedy on the set. Most of the cast and crew members from Poltergeist, even early on, are gone. I think the only one of the kids that survived is the boy. But the 2 girls are gone. The Native American guy that was in there, he's gone. They've just been wiped out through Poltergeist because of the disrespect and the dismantling. You can go to Egypt when they opened up one of the tombs. I think it was King Tut's tomb. People were dying. They put curses on that. I know y'all heard that. But they put curses on stuff to avenge them for the losses that they've had. Because it's called, and then you take Lake Lanier, destroy a town, don't move the bodies. The evil that was presented at that time resides there. And there are unrested spirits that reside there. They've not been made whole. And they will not be silenced, as we can see. They will continue to reach out from the grave, and continue to do what they're doing. These people have lost their lives tragically, but you got to think, what about the individuals that are buried? They say hundreds of people, right? You got to think, what about the amount of people that have actually died that were part of that town, that were buried, disrespectfully killed, murdered, had their land usurped from them? Think about it, man. That is heavy. Heavy. On the grounds of racism. You may not like this topic, but it's something that's happening, that's prevalent across this country. And hauntings and energy, rageful energy, will continue until it's made whole or made right. Spooky to think what's happening, especially when the guy said the arms and the legs and he's reached out. There's a lot of stories like that in Lake Lanier. The history is deep, and there's a lot of atonement for that. It's across the country, and you can see, people getting killed, and you can see things happening on the basis of racism. A lot of white people are still doing things to where they want to attack black people. And I mean, technically, you guys, if you're here and you keeping an open mind and you sticking with the side of logic, I just really don't know. I don't know where black people go into white neighborhoods and start gunning white people down. I don't know that. I've never seen that. But I see it all the time happening to black folk. So again, that's where we're at. Make a change, man. But Lake Lanier, what's happening, it is a tragedy. And I think the deaths are going to continue until they're made whole. I don't know how you would fix something like this, but it should have never happened. Plain and simple, it should have never happened. These black people, they deserve their right and their opportunity to be left to their own devices and thrive. Too many cities that I've seen and done research on that if a white lady says, that's how most of these towns get destroyed. A white lady says somebody did something to her that's black, or not even being black in the vicinity, next thing you know, guess what happens? The town is destroyed. It's deep. All right? So if you like the commentary, please like, share, comment, and subscribe on what we're talking about. We're going to continue to touch on different stories from all genres, and some of these stories happen to tie into racial situations and issues. It is life. You cannot get away from things when it comes to people. You're just not. You're going to have to deal with it. Or, I guess as they say, change the channel. Hopefully you're here to speculate and have an open mind and be willing to make a change and share these thoughts with these incredible stories and speculate. But make sure you guys get a copy of my new book, The Foes of God. Put a lot of work into it. All right, you can get it on Amazon, Books A Million, Barnes & Nobles, all of those good outlets. And not only that, then I'm working on the next Benefits of a Bully novel, so you guys be ready for that as well. And in closing, make sure you check the dark recesses of your home, check your closets, and if you're having to work to the wee hours of the morning or late at night, make sure you look in your car, under your car, around your car when you step out. Be mindful of your surroundings, because you never know what's lurking by a pool or a body of water waiting to make you a story. And this has been L.A. Kendrick from the Tales of Would You Dare. And until next time, you guys fill in the rest.